33. Houses divide and neighbors become enemies for one day every year. Today is that day. Cal versus Stanford, known simply as the big game. The college football day began in Houston with game day. We close it out with the Stanford Axe on the line in Stanford, California. ESPN College Football Primetime presented by Hampton Hotels from rainy Stanford, California. It is the 114th big game. All the way back to 1892 when they played in San Francisco when Herbert Hoover was counting tickets. California has won 7 of the last 9 meetings, including the last time the game was played here in Stanford in 2009, an upset win. And welcome to the big game. Stanford, California. Carter Blackburn with Brock Heward, former All-Pac-10 quarterback at Washington. Shelley Smith will join us in a moment from the sidelines. Everyone on the Stanford staff said it begins with Andrew Luck, his leadership this week. But for Luck, it took a little bit longer. We joke about the 6-hour rule after games. You have 6 hours to celebrate the win, also 6 hours to mull over, then flush it. Took a little longer than 6 hours after that loss.
Tonight, it's about the first 15 minutes. I really believe Stanford has to start fast, coming off an enormous loss like that, and against a Cal team that if you let them hang around has the athleticism to hurt you, this first quarter will be critical.
For more on the Bears, let's check in with Shelley Smith.
After Cal lost to UCLA on October 29th, players and coaches held a meeting to clear the air, and they vowed right then to work harder, get better, and turn things around. Well, they've won 2 in a row, and a win tonight against their arch rival would go a long way to sending Jeff Tedford and the Bears down what is being called the path to forgiveness after a less than expected season.
Missed out on a bowl game a year ago, bowl eligible this year. A lot on the line when you think about bowl projections and BCS and maybe even Rose, but the Stanford Axe is what's on the line in the big game between these Bay Area rivals.
And wasn't it fun to talk to David Shaw yesterday, a former receiver here at Stanford, remembers all of those games. College football players, these rivalry games stick with you for the rest of your life.
For the 114th time, the big game. Mike Manuel takes it from the 5. Manuel ridden out near the 27. Let's take a look at our Chick-fil-A impact players when Cal has the football.
Starts in the backfield. E.C. Sofele, the running back, career days the last 2 weeks. Tough, even plays tougher, never missing a game in his 3 years. Watch out for 21 Keenan Allen tonight. The sophomore wideout, fantastic size, even better body control. A threat every time the ball is in his hands. Chase Thomas, outside linebacker for Stanford, really sets the edge in the run game and the best pass rusher the Cardinal have.
So under center, the junior from Greensboro, North Carolina, Zach Maynard. Play action on first down. Maynard heaving long and caught inside the 30-yard line. First play from scrimmage, it's Keenan Allen, Maynard's half-brother, with a 42-yard gain. What a way to get it started for the Bears.
You see immediately why he's our impact player. He's 6'3", he's physical, he's strong. The two are arm fighting all the way down the field. May have gotten away with a little push in the back. Hey, it is a rivalry game after all. No, in fact, just a stumble job there by Batamosi. A big play, exactly what Cal wants to begin this game and exactly what Stanford needs to avoid defensively.
Fumble by Sofele all the way back to near the 40. Stanford has the football. First 2 plays from scrimmage, a 42-yard pickup, and then a fumble by Cal. Gardner recovers it, and we are underway in the big game.
You see quarterback and running back too close to each other. No pitch relationship. That ball gets right on top of Sofele. It almost was as if Sofele thought that was going to be a handoff, miscommunication on a play that you have scripted and prepared for all week. That can't happen.
So instead of Cal points on the board, it's Andrew Luck and the Stanford Cardinal offense getting the football from the 37. Luck to Ty Montgomery, the true freshman from Dallas, breaks the first tackle and gets to the 50. Our Chick-fil-A impact players in a moment. Our first flag of the night. Not even a minute in.
40-yard pass, a fumble, and a penalty.
Dead ball foul. Personal foul. Unnecessary roughness. Number 11 of the defense. 15-yard penalty. First down.
That's going to be strong safety Sean Catus just continuing to ride Montgomery out of bounds. It's a tough call for those defenders. Oftentimes they get engaged in the field of play. That momentum carries them out. Jeff Tedford knows coming into Stanford tonight, he needs to get ahead. He can't afford self-inflicted errors.
Big formation for Stanford on 1st and 10. Play action. Luck on a boot, tossing to Toilolo. It's incomplete. On a sure touchdown, Luck to Levine Toilolo. If he was 6'10", he would have caught it.
6'8", tight end, a wonderful job. I love the call and play action pass early. That's the confusion that all of that power game creates for defenses. That's Toilolo. It's 6'8", and a throw that Andrew has just got to give him a chance. Just give him a chance, put some air on it, and he's walking into the end zone.
So the first missed opportunity for Stanford, and the first missed pass from Andrew Luck. Reverse, Montgomery again. Ty Montgomery goes sprinting inside the 10, inside the 5, touchdown Cardinal. 34-yard touchdown run for Ty Montgomery.
In an emotional game, as all rivalry games are, look at the fast flow of the Cal Golden Bears. Those defenders flying up to make an impact, flying up to make a tackle. Pep Hamilton, offensive coordinator, and David Shaw, perfect unison there, taking advantage of the over-aggressiveness of Cal.
Williamson gets the PAT. He will kick tonight for Stanford. So one play in, it looked like Cal was headed to the end zone. But Stanford takes the Cal turnover, turns it into 7.
My name's
Rooting for the team who beat them a week ago, the Oregon Ducks, because if Oregon was able to creep into that national championship, then the second place team from the Pac-12 you would think would be Rose Bowl. But USC is throwing another wrench into the BCS plans.
Into what has become just a wild weekend, really beginning last night. And for Stanford to have Ty Montgomery be a game breaker, so critical, trying to replace Chris Owusu, out with the concussion once again, the true freshman showing up early.
Ben Ryan's kickoff handed by Mike Manuel. Brought down at the 25, where Cal will get the football. So the last time, the only time that Cal had the football, 42-yard completion on the first play from scrimmage, Maynard to Allen. And then the second play, a fumble by Sofele, but looked like Maynard may have misread the play. That is Will Kapp, who is down on this play. Will Kapp, the senior from Los Gatos, California, who's the son of the Hall of Fame Cal coach Joe Kapp.
And that's Max Bergen just flying into the back of the legs. Good to see Kapp up. And Cal needs him. Cal's really been a totally different team the last couple weeks, finding their identity in the run game through the first 8 weeks of this season. Just about 50-50 run and pass, and over the last 2 weeks, 77% run against Oregon State and Washington State. And Will Kapp, a big part of that in their two-back run game, playing fullback, getting downhill. And Jeff Tedford knows that's a significant loss if Kapp can't come back into play tonight.
Jeff Tedford, who guided Cal to 7 straight bowl games from 2003 to 2009, won 5 of those bowl games, then Losing season a year ago, 6 wins. That means they're bowl eligible. But a 7th win over Stanford, be the 3rd straight win for this Cal team, would be by far the biggest. Maynard, the transfer from the University of Buffalo, under center for Cal. Sofele brought down for a loss. Top 10 teams in trouble as they have been all weekend long in college football. It's 9th-ranked Stanford with an early 7-0 lead here in Stanford, California. Marvin Jones, the intended receiver there, goes out of bounds.
And you're seeing very early if Stanford's going to go into those single safety looks to try to stop this run game. Sofele over 1,000 yards this year, as I just mentioned, really finding that run game identity. You get those one-on-one situations with your big receivers. They hit it early with Allen. Maynard's got to keep that ball in play, allow the 6'3" Marvin Jones to go up and make a play on the ball.
Cal faces 3rd down for the first time tonight with 4 wide receivers on 3rd and 11. Allen's lined up in the slot. Maynard looks that way again to Keenan Allen to convert on 3rd down and 11. Allen, who is 8th in the nation, 2nd in the Pac-12 in receptions a game, averaging 110 receiving yards a game, 10th in the nation.
And this kid really shows up on film. Maynard could not throw that ball any better to his half brother, 6'3", and the difference I see with Allen is that body control, understanding how to leverage and utilize that great size and strength he has.
5 wide receivers for Cal on 1st down, including Allen. Maynard on the screen, completes to Manuel. So, Brock, you said Cal affected these last couple of weeks, nearly 600 rushing yards last 2 weeks against Washington State and Oregon State, 2 teams who've been challenged to stop the run all year. But we've seen a lot more through the air from Cal in these first 2 drives.
Cal also watched the last couple weeks with Stanford in space, having trouble defensively, tackling and speed and playmaking. Cal wants to get their playmakers in that open field and see if Stanford can tighten it up defensively.
Stanford does have Delano Howe back at strong safety. The only with an injured hand and foot missed the Oregon game. Sofele right through the Stanford D, across the S at midfield to the 45 before Batamosi finally brings him down.
Yes, defensive coordinator Derek Mason very pointedly yesterday, the perception that Stanford's not fast enough, not athletic enough when you're facing good athletes in the open field. Missed tackles a week ago against Oregon, a number of those explosive plays, and Derek said, no, we're plenty fast enough. We just have to leverage the ball better and get more and more Stanford Cardinal helmets to the ball carrier.
Sofele stood up with no gain on 1st down. Looks like he lost a yard. So a Cal team who's averaging now on the year 167 rush yards a game, but nearly 600 those last 2 weeks against Washington State and Oregon State.
Offensive coordinator Jim Michalczyk loves that. Offensive line guy Jeff Tedford as well. 8 of the top 10 rushers, single-season rushers in Cal history have come under Jeff Tedford's watch. He's known for quarterback play. He likes to run the ball as well.
Maynard throwing again, finding Allen again. This one high, no chance for Allen to run after the catch. So back to 3rd down. It'll be 3rd down and about 7 yards for Cal. Allen already 3 catches, 58 yards. Cal is converted on 3rd down and 11 at the beginning of this drive. 2nd Cal possession of the game. First one ended in a fumble. Stanford turned into a touchdown. Heavy pressure. Maynard completes. It's Allen again to the 25. Finding Keenan Allen, who beats Michael Thomas for the grab and a Cal 1st down.
with a quarterback that's been inconsistent up and down this season for first-year starter Zach Maynard. Stanford wants to come out and force the issue. They press, they play man, they bring the pressure off the edge. And Maynard's calm and cool and collected on these 2 third downs. When you've got a target like Allen that shows you those numbers and gives you some speed and separation, those third downs are easier to complete.
Cal has 83 yards of total offense, 74 to Keenan Allen. This is C.J. Anderson. Manages to pick up a couple on the edge, the junior from Vallejo, California.
And keep an eye on number 3, Michael Thomas, right there. You see the grass stains already on the pants. He's a guy that Derek Mason's demanding more from. Without Shane Scove, lost earlier this season to a significant knee injury, Michael Thomas has to step up, be accountable, and make those plays in the open field. In fact, it was Allen just beating him on that third down in man coverage. Derek Mason, very open, very honest. I said, well, how does Howell and Thomas and your seniors take that criticism? He said, they know when they walk in that door, we're going to be blatant and honest with them.
Flag before second down on the 10th play of the drive for Cal.
Full start. Offensive line. 5-yard penalty. Still second down.
That's a problem. It's not one guy when the referee has to say entire offensive line.
Brock, I don't know if you've noticed this. I like to write down memorable quotes. Here's one from Derek Mason. Everybody in the boat, grab an oar and row. That's pretty good coach quote. I think
that's that team concept, that team mentality that Stanford has to play with defensively. Minus a couple of their real playmakers on that side of the ball.
Maynard to the air again, incomplete, intended for Marvin Jones, and a flag comes out at the end. Batamosi and Jones get tangled up. That's the senior from Fontana, California, who's had a terrific Cal career. Part of the team in 2009 that came to Stanford and beat a ranked Stanford team. That was when Andrew Luck was the freshman quarterback, Toby Gerhardt in the backfield. Cal is leaning on that knowledge from its seniors today.
Shaw asking for the uncatchable ball.
Pass interference. Number 27 of the defense. 15-yard penalty. First down.
And both of these wideouts for Cal, Allen and Jones, both 6'3" in size. They like to be physical. You've seen them already getting the hand fighting. Batamosi there locks onto the arm there. Just too much contact there in the open field.
I don't think Coach Shaw was going to win the argument that was not a catchable ball.
You better be careful with Maynard. He is streaky. When he gets into a rhythm and he gets going, he gets into that groove, David Shaw knows this young quarterback can get hot.
From the 15. Sofele straight ahead. Slipping all the way to the 10 after contact. A tricky runner. Issei Sofele, 9th 1,000-yard rusher in the last 10 years for Cal, had 190 yards and a touchdown last week in the win over Oregon State.
You said you like to write down quotes. You know what I like to dig through, try to find some statistical trends. The one that just jumped off the page, when Sofele gets 18 carries a game, these Cal Golden Bears are 6-0.
5 so far. Sofele for the 6th time to make it 3rd down and about 3 in the first trip to the red zone inside Stanford's 20 for the Cal Golden Bears.
Shouldn't be any surprise tonight when you watch these two pro-style offenses. You don't see the up-tempo nature that so many teams in college football play. Cal, Stanford, number 1 and 2 in time of possession within the conference. It'll be imperative for Cal and for Jeff Tedford to keep Andrew Luck and that Stanford offense off the field as much as they can.
12th play of the drive. Keenan Allen lined up in the slot to the bottom of your screen. Instead, it's a handoff to Anderson, who goes nowhere. 4th down coming. Which means the kicking unit comes on for Cal. Giorgio Tavecchio, the senior, on the kick.
Great penetration there by Ben Gardner. Now 9 tackles for loss on the season, one of the best on the team. He has been so stout there as a redshirt sophomore.
25-yard attempt coming from Tavecchio. Cal is on the board. Andrew Luck and the Stanford Cardinals get the football when we come back. If the Bears can sick them against the Oklahoma Sooners, that means the Cowboys, the Ducks in big-time trouble, Oklahoma in trouble, Clemson already losing big today at NC State, and now 9th-ranked Stanford hoping to avoid that upset trouble as a top 10 team and a rivalry game against Cal. Andrew Luck and the Cardinal from the 35. Luck over the middle, pass incomplete to Whalen. We check out our Chick-fil-A impact players when Stanford has the ball.
Andrew Luck now 29-6 as a starter. The architectural design major can really reshape the Heisman conversation with a big game tonight. Stephon Taylor behind him, the model of consistency, not flashy, but very productive within this scheme. Watch middle linebacker Michael Kendrick, sideline to sideline, also has 11.5 sacks in his career.
So Andrew Luck only 1 for 3 for 14 yards to start the game for the Stanford Cardinal, the junior from Houston, Texas, Stratford High School. Luck airing it out on second down for Whalen. It's incomplete. Brock, you have noticed, especially early on, last few games, Luck not as sharp.
It really started against USC, and I think with the loss of Owusu, the loss of Zach Ertz, some new weapons out there. We saw it on the miss to Toilolo. That one he let rip a little bit better. That's a 45-yard throw that you'd like to see, a little bit more air, a little bit more touch. But yeah, over the last 3 weeks, the 70% passer that Luck has been this season has really dipped significantly.
So 2 incompletions makes it 3rd and 10. Heavy pressure picked up. Luck's pass is intercepted. Picked off by Williams inside the 20. Williams inside the 10. Williams stretching for the goal line. Touchdown Cal. But flag on the field.
There are 2 fouls on the play. During the interception return, illegal block in the back. It's a 10-yard penalty. We also have sideline interference on the Cal bench. This 5-yard penalty reinforces the delay of game. First down, Cal.
Talk to you about some of these new weapons that Andrew Luck is throwing to. Ty Montgomery, the true freshman outside. He's trying to run the comeback. Well, Steve Williams, this redshirt sophomore cornerback, he sees that route. Montgomery slips. Enormous play, and that's what they're calling the block in the back.
Is that a block in the back? I mean,
that's a difficult call. Tedford was in the ear of the officials earlier on the personal foul call on the boundary. I think many times those referees will see how that player falls, and with Luck falling forward there, that action may have dictated that call, but that's yet another there that I'm sure Jeff Tedford will have a conversation or two with the officials about.
Now, that's an interception, and that's Luck's 5th interception in the last 4 games. Ty Montgomery fell down on that play on a slick field here. Maynard on first down throws. Speaking of the slick field, Allen falls down. Big issue last week in the Oregon game. The slickness of this field, better condition tonight, but it's still slick.
And we were down there pre-game. It had not rained really much of the day. The field in a much better condition than a week ago, where really Andrew Luck and his team dealt with so much rain, so much poor weather. but we've now seen a number of plays. Running backs, receivers slipping. Got to get your shoulder pads over your toes. Be under control on a slick field.
Maynard toss to Sofele. With Schwartz blocking for him on the outside to make it 3rd down. Luck, prior to the USC game, had 3 interceptions on the season. Has thrown now 5 interceptions in the last 4 games.
Well, let's watch tonight with Andrew. As a quarterback, you try to anticipate. You want to throw that comeback on time. You want to throw it before the receiver gets out of his break, and I'm sure that's a discussion there with David Shaw. You got to have that level of trust. But when your receivers are falling, the balls are bouncing off their pads for an interception a week ago, sometimes that trust, especially with new targets, can break down.
Maynard to the end zone for Allen. It is caught. Touchdown, Cal. Allen hauls it in. Off the Andrew Luck interception, Maynard to Allen, and the Golden Bears have an early lead at 9th-ranked Stanford.
That's the matchup that Cal has got to take advantage of all night. Once again, you see the physical play of Allen getting away with just a little bit of push-off. That's a savvy player, understanding the body control, just the slight little push-off to gain the separation. 5'11", 6'3", Keenan Allen winning that battle.
PAT is good from DeVecchio. 10-7 lead for Cal on 9th-ranked Stanford. Andrew Luck, an interception with a little slip from Montgomery. Cal into the end zone. Another top 10 team in trouble.
Too tired.
The 114th big game between Cal and Stanford. It's the Golden Bears with an early lead. Toss, Jones. Looks like he wants to throw it back to Maynard. Jones is now going to slip and be dropped at the 25 on 1st down. The first of the trick plays we expect to see throughout this game.
And talking to the Stanford coaches, some 30 gimmick plays they prepared for this week. Jeff Tedford has in his arsenal, and here you expect your senior Jones. It's a very simple concept. Either it's there or throw that ball away. The one thing you need to try to avoid on those gimmick plays are the negative yardage, because then that starts to give that defense some momentum.
Miles Mwaga-Tutia has the tackle for loss, -9. Maynard. Pass is caught inside the 10. That's Marvin Jones. The pass was nearly deflected by Chase Thomas, but Maynard finds Jones. He is now 10 for 12 passing. That's a 19-yard pickup.
And you're going to see Stanford once again very aggressive, bringing the pressure off the edge. And anytime they've been in these man-to-man coverages, and that's the senior Corey Gatewood. He's played receiver this year, corner. Cal and those big receivers just taking care of that man-to-man. They're winning that battle. Stanford's got to be careful to put those corners out on an island.
Look at the time of possession and even just plays. Cal has run twice as many plays on Stanford. 1st and goal. Sofele inside the 5.
I think we all really wondered coming down here, what would be the mindset of Stanford after such an emotional loss a week ago? How would they bounce back? How would they play? Would there be that energy? Would there be that passion that they brought? And I love the hit, and they need more of that from Delano Howell. But they had to start fast today. It was imperative for David Shaw to put that loss behind him. And they're 3 yards away from staring down another 10-point deficit early in the ballgame.
Sofele on 2nd and goal. This will be the first 3rd down that Cal has faced on this drive. They've been getting it done quickly.
From a psyche standpoint, if you're Cal, what an opportunity. You want to create that sense of doubt. You want to create some of that fear those guys felt. You want to create in this stadium oh, here we go again. Oh, our team isn't ready to play. This is huge right now to really set that tone and create some of those doubts in the Stanford team after a devastating loss just a week ago.
Play action. Maynard rolling, throwing, nearly picked it It's incomplete. Intended for Marvin Jones. 4th down coming. Kicking unit on for Cal. A.J. Tarpley had his hands on it. Nearly had the interception in the end zone.
And that is a very dangerous pass, and one that Stanford makes earlier this season, frankly. Those are the plays they were making defensively to turn it around and take it 99 yards. And those are exactly the plays that Maynard made. 7 interceptions and 2 losses to USC and UCLA. He has to avoid.
Essentially a PAT here for Tavecchio, but that's been trickier than the field goals have. He's missed 5 PATs, but this one counts for 3. Cal leading 9th-ranked Stanford 13-7.
White Plaza is at the center of campus and is the hub of student activity. It is bounded by the bookstore, the outdoor auditorium, and Old Union. It also features the Cloth Fountain, which is one of the sites of the Stanford tradition called fountain hopping, where students run around campus and jump into the dozens of water fountains. Welcome to my university.
Leland Stanford Junior University, 1884. Leland Stanford, the governor of California, former governor at that time. His son, Leland Stanford Jr., passed away. Decided to turn his horse farm to a world-class university. Leland Stanford Junior University. Montgomery wrestled down near the 22. 8:27 left to go in that one. Anthony Wilkerson on 1st down for Stanford. Shoved out as he crosses the 40. The sophomore home run threat, and the rotation of backs for the Stanford Cardinal picks up 20.
Well, you wondered about Oklahoma and their mindset when they watched Oklahoma State lose, knowing that really hurt them as well. We're talking a bunch about David Shaw and the mindset of his team, and I love this. Come back to your power football, the identity of your group.
Andrew Luck handing off again on 1st down. It's Wilkerson. Kendricks there on the stop.
When times get tough, the best coaches that I've ever been around, when you're in losing and you're trying to overcome difficult circumstances, get back to what you know. Get back to those basics. We're comfortable. We have built this team on an identity of big physical offensive linemen, power run game. Over the last 3 years with Andrew Luck, the starting quarterback, those big guys, David DeCastro, Jonathan Martin, have run the ball 59% of the time. You got to stick to your identity.
Luck dropping on 2nd down, completes to Ryan Hewlett, who takes a big hit in midfield from Trevor Guyton. He's the player who was helped off the field just 2 series ago, back in there for Cal.
There you see a little bit of the zone blitzing. We talked about the creativity of Stanford defensively. Clancy Pendergast, defensive coordinator at Cal, will throw as many looks at Andrew Luck as anyone that he has faced. 3-man front, 4-man front, fire zone, overloads. And that time you see the big DN drop out in the fire zone. Lay some wood.
Jumbo formation on 3rd and very short. Jeremy Stewart appears to have the 1st down. He's the 5th-year senior from Baton Rouge, who's the short yardage back for Stanford. We'll see at least 4 tailbacks for the Stanford Cardinals.
Part of the reason you get back to that identity is it just calms everyone down. It creates that sense of belief that, yeah, we can do this, and I love it. Once again, you see the 6 linemen on the field, big heavy package.
So back to play action on 1st down. Luck looking downfield, and another missed deep ball. That one intended for Kobe Fleener on the play action 1st down. Luck took a hit as well.
That really was not a misfire. Cal played that really well. You know, defensively, when you get into that zone, the opponent crosses the 50. Look at the defensive group. Got a body on a body. There's really no room to throw that pass. A very veteran crew. 7 seniors start defensively for Cal. 2 juniors. Really experienced on that side of the ball.
High backfield. Play action again on 2nd down. Luck on the roll. Luck's gonna tuck it, scramble, short of a 1st down. 3rd down coming. In the 114th big game between these Bay Area rivals, Stanford and Cal. 2 years ago, Cal came to Stanford and beat a ranked Cardinal team. There's a number 9 next to Stanford's name, but it's Cal with a 6-point edge nearing the midway point of the second quarter. Taylor straight ahead has the first down, moving the chains from the 35. Play action on first down. Out of the backfield, Ryan Hewitt moving the chains again. When Stanford gets that power run game going, first down opens up a lot of opportunities.
That's exactly right. You just slow down the opponent. It's body blows. It's giving those linebackers and those safeties something different to look at down in and down out. And even though it looks simple and it looks like a big goal line package, there's a lot of adjustments that group has to make defensively, who they account for. And then ultimately, any time you can run it, it sets up that play action pass.
Straight ahead, Tyler Gaffney. Gaffney rolling inside the 10. Gaffney to the 5.
You want to know how you deal with a nasty, wet field, a sloppy field? Don't dance. Just go north and south. Tyler Gaffney, a wonderful job there on the draw action. He's not dancing. There's no wiggle. He hits the hole. He hits it downhill, and he hits it with some fury.
Verizon red zone. Stanford tremendous once they get inside the 20. Points on every possession. Touchdowns nearly 80% of the time. Gaffney inside the 5. Gaffney into the end zone. Even at 13 with the PAT coming. Stanford says we don't want to join that list. Oklahoma State, Oregon, Oklahoma, Clemson.
That was a really big drive in a game that Cal has largely controlled through the first quarter and a half, reestablishing the line of scrimmage, reestablishing that power run game. That was a really enormous drive from a psyche standpoint for the Cardinal.
Jordan Williamson on for the PAT. 14-13 in the 114th big game. Like the Stanford fight song says, give a cheer for Stanford Red throughout the land. Joining us from that terrific game in Eugene between USC and Oregon, this is the big game. Cal and Stanford, 114th time back to 1892 when they played in San Francisco on Haight Street. And Herbert Hoover was counting tickets. It was a record-setting attendance day that first. There is the Stanford Axe, and it is guarded extremely tightly during big game week. It is the Stanford. It started with baseball, actually, before it was awarded beginning in 1933 to the winner of the football big game. Carter Blackburn, Brock Heward, Shelley Smith. Stanford, California. Andrew Luck handing off to Stephon Taylor on first down. Taylor, who has gone over 1,000 rushing yards in this game. Junior from Mansfield, Texas.
And 113 years of football, and some of what Stanford employs offensively is very similar to what you saw in the 30s and the 40s and the 50s. Big, heavy goal line package, a lot of power play. It's not complicated. As David Shaw said, we're a gap system. That means they like to block down, pull the guard around, lead with the fullback. Very physical, this Stanford group.
Give it to Taylor again for a Stanford first down. He was down. So Taylor, for the second time, going over 1,000 rushing yards. He did it last year, does it in his junior season, so joins a very small list of Stanford backs. They've gone over 1,000 rushing yards twice in their career. Nelson and Heisman Trophy finalist from 2009, Toby Gerhart.
And with 25 touchdowns, is 4th on the all-time list, 6th all-time as a leading rusher. Will have a chance next year in a senior year with a new quarterback, I'm sure, to see plenty of carries as well.
Gerhart's senior year, Cal came in here 2 years ago. Last trip to Stanford, beat a ranked Cardinal team. Trying to repeat the feat tonight. Block complete on first down. Kobe Fleener takes it to the S at the middle of the field.
He's without Owusu, he's without Ertz. He has some new weapons around him, but Fleener is the security blanket. There's a lot of comfort between the two. And that's well thrown right over the linebackers in front of the safeties. Missed some throws in that first quarter. That's the best throw yet from Andrew Luck. And there you see Chris Owusu, unfortunately, a number of concussions. Tough hit against Oregon State weeks ago that knocked him out of that Oregon game, and action tonight.
Play action again on first down. Luck's going to heave it long, intended for Montgomery. Flag on the play. Pass interference coming. That's Mark Anthony, the corner in coverage. On time, Montgomery.
Pass interference. Number 2 of the defense. 15-yard penalty. Automatic first down.
That's the redshirt junior Anthony against the true freshman Montgomery, who's trying to fill those shoes of Owusu. There's no doubt about that. I don't know what Mark Anthony's complaining about. You can't grab and hold the receiver as he's working back to the football. That's an obvious 15-yarder.
Power eye on first down. Hewitt blocking for Stephon Taylor. Taylor all the way down to the 21.
Wildcat here from Stanford.
Gaffney direct snap. Got maybe a yard.
And this is a really big drive now for Cal defensively. You have held your own in moments. You have been very stout up front. You're coming into this big game. A lot of the emotion. You know what you're facing in Stanford after their tough loss a week ago. Really imperative before you go into halftime. Coaches will always tell you that in there you can see a good shot of Clancy Pendergast, and defensive coaches will tell you that energy and emotion you take coming into half and then coming out of halftime can be so critical. A chance here for the Golden Bears to hold Stanford to a field goal, which would be a real win in this situation.
Heavy pressure coming on second down. Luck rolls away, completes to Lolo at the 15 to make it 3rd down and 4. Michael Kendricks with an excellent tackle on Levine Toilolo.
See a little more conviction here with Andrew Luck. Another very tight window, 6'8" target. Throw it down and away, give him a chance. Set yourself up for a much more manageable 3rd and 4 situation where running and throwing are available.
All 3 of those conversions for Stanford have been very short on 3rd down. Andrew Luck from the shotgun. To the end zone. Incomplete. Intended for Montgomery. Steve Williams there in coverage to make it 4th down.
That's a really long throw all the way across the field, and one that Andrew's got to get up a little earlier. You see the double move. Montgomery gains some separation. That ball is underthrown. You'd also like to see the young receiver just work back towards that ball. If you're not going to get it, that DB will probably run right into you and through you to at least draw the penalty. But Andrew's got to get that ball up earlier into the back pylon.
Jordan Williamson, who has missed the last couple of weeks because of a nagging leg injury, on for the field goal. Redshirt freshman from Austin, Texas, misses for just the 2nd time this season. Stanford leads by a point, but a Williamson missed kick keeps this tight with less than a minute to go in the half.
And that looked like an overzealous kicker there that was just anxious to get to the ball. As you reference, he's been dealing with a muscle strain this first game back after missing a number of weeks. Just like those golfers know, so critical the timing and tempo of your swing. He just got on top of that and yanked him.
Well, who knows if we're headed to the last play of this game. That would be fun. But we asked you earlier. Big game decided on the final play 5 times. Last time it occurred in 2000, an overtime game, 36-30, Stanford on Cal. So Fele dropped for a loss. 9th-ranked Stanford in trouble in their rivalry game, the big game. 1-point edge on Cal. with third down coming. Or halftime coming. 1 point lead at the half. 9th ranked Stanford 14-13 after an Andrew Luck interception. A sack that he took on third down. Back to the ground game for the Cardinal. Touchdown drive capped off by Tyler Gaffney, and that is the difference at this point. 14-13. 1 point lead at the half on Cal. Carter Blackburn with Brock Hewitt, Shelley Smith on the sideline. Well, it is Stanford by 1. Stanford has the lead in this game, but it is without question not the sharpest Cardinal effort, including Andrew Luck.
Everything we thought we knew about college football, throw it out the window. And you thought tonight Andrew Luck would be spectacular, that he would bounce back, that he would be sharp. And he's just been a little bit off this first half. At times, anticipation. At times, accuracy. The rain and the wind certainly a factor, but you expect more from an Andrew Luck who watched Brandon Whedon throw 3 interceptions last night and knows if he plays well here down the stretch, he's the front runner for the Heisman Trophy.
Montgomery fields it from near the goal line. Montgomery to across the 30-yard line. We look back at that first half for Andrew Luck.
And this was an opening drive, and it doesn't get any easier than the 6'8 target Toilolo. He overthrows Whalen. He throws it into coverage to Fleener. And this is one of the last plays to go up 21-13. Throw it to the back pylon and anticipate, unfortunately, on one of the earlier throws where Andrew does get the ball out of his hand. His true freshman receiver falls down in the critical interception. You saw it through the first 30 minutes. There's no doubt about it. Zach Maynard cut the wind, was much more effective in the passing game than was Andrew Luck.
Stanford gets a football to begin the second half with a 1 point lead. Andrew Luck, the junior from Houston, Texas, Stratford High School. Flag on the play as Taylor gets to near the first down. But again, flag back at the line of scrimmage.
Holding. Number 64 of the offense. 10-yard penalty. First down will be repeated.
That's the redshirt junior Schwartzstein. You heard Jeff Tedford talk about going into halftime how David Shaw and that play sheet started to pound on Cal, started to establish more of that run, put together some good drives. Let's take a close look at what Clancy Pendergast, Jeff Tedford, their adjustments here in the second half. And you see right away, Stanford, like the first half, come out, run the power game, run the big heavy packages, do what we do well, try to get our Heisman quarterback into some rhythm and into a comfort zone he's not been in tonight.
Play action on 1st and 20. Luck rolling, comes back to complete to Hewitt. Short gain as we check in with Shelley.
David Shaw told me nothing, very little has gone right for the Cardinal. Drops, slips, you name it. He said nothing that we can't fix. We have to sustain drives. We have to get our defense on, be able to stop them, and then get Andrew Luck on the field. That's key. As for the field, he said it's slick, but it's slick for them too. We have to find a way to stay on our feet.
So you expect more then of the power run game because of the field conditions like
north and
that.
south. Yeah, and you see Luck fall. Toilolo, his number 2 in that progression, actually slipped and fell. He had nowhere to go, did Andrew Luck.
1 second on the play clock. Luck barely gets it off. Throwing the slant is caught. For a Stanford first down as Montgomery breaks tackles and gets across the 50. 19-yard pickup.
And that was a throw with some conviction, and you're going to see the Cal Golden Bears, the underneath coverage, run right smack into one another. They try to anticipate the route. The recognition is there. You saw Andrew throw that ball early, throw Montgomery open. Hard to do at times with a true freshman that we've already seen slip tonight. He's dropped some passes. Andrew's got to show a lot of confidence in these new young pieces around him.
Play action. Luck heaving downfield. Toilolo drops it at the 30. That is the second big miss to Toilolo. One was too tall, and that one a straight drop by the sophomore tight end.
Take a look at this, Carter. This is, you can do the math. This is every defender of the Cal Golden Bears, all 11 of them, within 6 yards of the line of scrimmage. And much like the first half, where Andrew Luck has Toilolo open, he overthrows it. These are veteran players. These are guys who have made these plays throughout the winning streak for Stanford. Exactly what David Shaw told Shelley out of halftime. We're just not executing the basics.
Good telestration, by the way, Brad.
It's a fun little grab.
Luck throwing on second down to a dragging Whalen, who is brought down at the 45. Now, big game, the Stanford Axe, Rose Bowl potential. All that's on the line in this game, but Andrew Luck, Heisman Trophy. You said the Heisman quarterback. He is the presumptive favorite in the Heisman race. How much does that matter? How much does Andrew Luck's performance in the more interceptions in the past 3 weeks and he had thrown the entire year?
Points, sure, they're style points, and he's got to be effective. Most importantly, he's got to lead his team to a win here in the second half. Yeah, I think very clearly it's Trent Richardson and Andrew Luck's Heisman to lose.
On 3rd and 6, Luck rolling, throwing, caught near the 20-yard line. Fleener makes the grab. Cardinal moving through the air now. Luck much sharper to begin the second half.
Buying a little bit of time athletically. There you see a little better throw. Once again, that's not picture perfect. I was chatting with some of the Stanford personnel close to this program. How was the week of practice? And they said, yeah, Andrew's just not been as sharp as he was. 29-6, and I know it's nitpicking, and I know he does so many things wonderful, but that accuracy over the last few weeks has taken a dip. Even that throw he could still put out in front and let Fleener run.
Luck had 81 passing yards in the first half, 57 on this drive. Play action on first down now. Andrew Luck will tuck it and slide to the 15. Here comes a flag and what looked like a late hit on the sliding quarterback, Andrew Luck. So David DeCastro over there to pick up his QB.
After the play was over, personal foul, unnecessary roughness. Number 91 of the defense, the distance to the goal, first down.
And that's the redshirt sophomore DeAndre Coleman from Seattle, Washington. Jeff Tedford doesn't like it, but you go into a sliding quarterback with your forearm into his head, that's going to draw that penalty.
Making it 1st and goal, Stanford. Cardinal had scored points on every trip to the red zone. They try a trick play on first down. Inside give to the fullback Minkin for just a couple.
That is old school right there.
Yeah, what do you call that one, Brian?
It's a little minor fumble-rooski, I would say, back in the day. Lots of wrinkles you throw out in the big game.
Fumble-rooski-esque from the Cardinal on 1st and goal. So now 2nd and goal, and back to the straight-ahead run game. Taylor going off tackle behind Cameron Fleming. 3rd down and goal.
This turns into a really big 3rd down to begin the second half. See the knee brace all out of whack. I'd like to see Andrew, frankly, scramble a little bit more. It's a strength of his that he's limited this season. Remember, Stanford missed that field goal going into halftime. It's so good scoring touchdowns down here. Important for Cal to find a way to force Stanford into another field goal attempt.
Leg lock at 10. Luck, quick drop for Toilolo. It is caught for Stanford, touchdown. Toilolo, who had a huge drop earlier on the drive, hauls in a difficult touchdown grab. Stanford with a statement on the opening drive of the second half.
And that play was right at the playbook of USC in overtime. Same concept. You get your big 6'8" tight end, Toilolo out there on a backup linebacker. Camparelli's filling in for an injured Wilkerson. That's advantage Stanford, and that was a wonderful job of Andrew Luck giving his receiver, and in that case a tight end, a chance to make a play for him.
Stanford scores on its first possession of the second half to put some distance against Cal, trying to stave off the upset talk to close out the day. The Stanford Axe. Stanford head coach David Shaw is in his first year as head coach at Stanford, but spent much of his life around this program. Matt Willey was a Stanford assistant coach. Luck on first down will take the sack. Second time he's been sacked. So David Shaw, father Willie, was a 33-year coaching veteran. Then David played for Denny Green and Bill Walsh, graduated from Stanford, been on the staff now 5 years. Said his favorite moment in the big game rivalry was that game when he wasn't even playing. It was his red shirt year. He said he was so exhausted from the emotion of that game just standing and watching it on the sideline. Stanford alum, 1994 grad, got a sociology degree. On second down, this is Taylor, who is wrapped up for a loss, already the third and long for the Cardinals.
Once again, we showed the play earlier with all those bodies, all those Cal Golden Bears around the line of scrimmage. They're daring Stanford. They're going to say, hey, we're going to load up this box. You're going to have to beat us outside. And those linebackers, very, very active. We've seen Holt and Kendricks tonight, top 2 leading tacklers. These are the situations they want to put Andrew Luck in this young receiving core in, third and extra long.
Longest third down that Stanford has faced tonight. Andrew Luck on 3rd and 14, setting up the screen. Stephon Taylor goes sprinting ahead, knocked out of bounds at the 40, moving the chains on 3rd down and 14.
And that is a wonderful call from Pep Hamilton and David Shaw on the sidelines. What do you expect? What has Cal shown you in these 3rd down situations? Lots of pressures, the stunt, the blitz. You buy a little bit of time. That athletic offensive line gets out in front on 3rd and 14. You move the sticks with a screen pass. That's well designed and well executed.
Thought Jonathan Martin might have gotten away with a hold there, Brock. Tyler Gaffney in a tailback goes jumping over a Cal defender to get to the 50.
It's remarkable what those 3rd and long conversions, especially on a screen pass, can do. It can just take the wind right out of the sails of a defense and get you some bounce in your step to an offense. You did everything right on those early downs. You put Stanford in the situation you want them. You dial in the blitz. And boy, that can really build some confidence and mojo there for your offense. Let's see if Cal can respond defensively after the big giveaway.
Luck heaving long on 2nd and short. Torlolo holds it in inside the 20. Torlolo down at the 10-yard line. And if Andrew Luck was off in the first half, if the Stanford offense was off, it is back to being the Andrew Luck who could be holding the Heisman.
That's as good a throw as you're going to make. We've seen him overthrow those corner routes, underthrow. You're exactly right. And I'm sure at halftime there was a conversation between coach and quarterback. Just relax. Everyone was a little bit too tight in that first half, squeezing the ball too tight, drops, incompletions. There you see the difference in the second half, and that's what really good players do. They put past mistakes behind them, and they push forward.
Play action on first down. Wide open Ryan Huey into the end zone. Touchdown Stanford. A pair of touchdown passes from Andrew Luck as 9th-ranked Stanford taking command in the big game.
So dangerous in that play action game with all of the different looks, all the little different wrinkles. If you stand flat-footed defensively, you lose contain, you lose leverage. Luck's going to make you pay now. Just one touchdown behind by the name of John Elway all-time in the history of Stanford.
Pair of touchdown passes in the 3rd quarter. Stanford has turned a potential upset into a 15-point lead. What makes a rivalry game a real rivalry game if there's a disputed score? 1982, the play. This was yesterday on the Stanford Axe. When Stanford has possession of it, it reflects 20-19 Stanford over Cal, because Rod Gilmore and the Stanford Cardinal contend that a Cal runner was down on the play. So now it is updated 25-20. So Stanford has the Stanford Axe, and all year long it says 1982 Stanford won the game. And then when it comes finally to big game day, the official record is reflected on the Axe. In fact, the Cal win. Flag down on this play.
Holding. Number 6 is a defense. 10-yard penalty, and by rule, an automatic first down.
That's the backup corner, Terrence Brown.
And he's at the top of the screen once again, matched up with these big receivers. It's actually the backup tight end, Spencer Hagan, outside. Just hands all over Spencer. Oof, that's a little ticky-tack. I think Terrence making his case there. That's a tough call.
So first down, Cal. Golden Bears need a touchdown on this drive to make the fourth quarter a tight one in the 114th big game. So Fele breaks a tackle. So Fele across midfield into Stanford territory.
Well, Cal's defense has given this offense a little bit of life. After that turnover, they come out, they stop Stanford on the fourth down. Michael Kendricks has a beautiful play in the backfield. And now you're getting a chance, and I think Tedford's looking at that clock and saying there is still time to run the ball. This does not have to be pass, pass, pass. The strength of our team and how we've won games over the last few weeks is Sofele, our 1,000-yard rusher. There's still ample time to have balance within your offense.
15-point game, meaning pair of touchdowns, 2-point conversion at some point would tie it. That's a long way off. Maynard finds C.J. Anderson. Or is it a long way off? Anderson inside the 15, inside the 10. Anderson finally brought down at the 7. It will be first and goal for Cal. 40-yard pickup. And Keenan Allen very slow getting up after that play for Cal.
Zach Maynard here, you can see, can't you, the defense dropping out in the zone coverage just by a little bit of time and get the ball to your back. And now that's back-to-back plays where Stanford defensively looks like they did a week ago, missing many tackles in the open field.
Wildcat look from Cal.
Timeout, California.
Timeout, Cal. First and goal coming for Jeff Tedford's Golden Bears. So 15-point game now. Stanford and Cal. So the big game certainly yet to be determined, but we have discussed, Brock Heward, the Heisman Trophy and Andrew Luck's relative placement in that Heisman Trophy race. Reese made the great point. Robert Griffin certainly back in that contention now, but you are a Heisman Trophy voter in 2011. I'm sure you perceive what Andrew Luck has done without Ertz, without Toilolo for much of the year, part of the year, without Owusu. That certainly affected Andrew Luck's numbers. Yeah,
you got to take all of that, I think, into account. And the bottom line is winning. And Andrew Luck has been a winner here, the winningest quarterback in Stanford history, now 29-6, searching for his 30th win. And is it always pretty? And does he put up the gaudy numbers that many of his counterparts around the country do? No, they don't. But this second half, I think, really reflective of Andrew Luck, the player. Can put bad plays behind him, press ahead, and he doesn't always care what it looks like. He cares most importantly about finding ways to win. And in today's day and age with that Heisman Trophy, how many times year after year after year do you see guys who are winners and whose teams find a way to win, ultimately take home the hard way?
And I think that's exactly what Andrew Luck would tell you about the Heisman. He doesn't talk about it. He doesn't want to talk about it because he is truly a team player. Second and goal, back to the Wildcat. So Fele to about the 3 to make it third down and goal. In what would be 4-down territory.
I think it is 4-down territory at this juncture. It doesn't certainly have to be, but if I'm Jeff Tedford, I'm making sure I'm reminding my offensive staff, hey, give me 2 plays here to get it done, to gain these 2 yards in a fourth quarter that's been very problematic this season for Jeff Tedford's Bears. Those 20 points, as you see, fewest in all of college football in the fourth quarter.
Third down and goal, Maynard back under center. Play action, Maynard rolling. Zach Maynard tosses at the last second, touchdown, Cal. Hagan into the end zone. The college football day is not done.
That's a nifty little move, and I don't know if Maynard makes that play earlier this season, keeps the play alive. And now this is a situation where I'm kicking a PAT with 10 minutes to go, a couple timeouts. This is a call that I'm not comfortable with. I'm not going for 2 at this juncture of the game, but Jeff Tedford and his staff, well, they decide otherwise.
So at some point, Cal was going to need a 2-point conversion.
But don't go for it until you have to go for it, Carter.
First time in the end zone, 2-point conversion attempt coming. Maynard rolling, throwing, it is caught. 2-point conversion is good. Marvin Jones hauls it in. And with 10 minutes, 53 seconds to go in the fourth quarter, a 1-score game, and 9th-ranked Stanford is in a tight one, just like the rest of the top 10 teams who have fallen this week in college football. So a Cal team who had 20 points in the fourth quarter in 10 previous games has 8 to make this a touchdown game.
And 8 crucial points as you're down here. And I think, and the replay officials are going to take a look at this, I think Marvin Jones does once again a wonderful job of digging this ball out. 6'3", 200 pounds, senior receiver gets underneath that ball before it contacts the ground. And I thought a risky call, a gutsy call.
This began with the Cal defense stopping Stanford on 4th down and 2 to give the offense a chance to go down the field and get in the end zone.
On a wild day of college football, Carter, why not? Right, on a day where we saw 4 teams in the top 10 fall, 3 in the top 5 over the weekend with Oklahoma and Oklahoma State and Oregon. Well, why not make the big game interesting? After all, this is a big game that over 50 times in the series history has come down to 7 points or less.
Well, we didn't get an official call on that, but the 2-point conversion stands, and it's a 7-point game with 10:53 to go, which is a lot of time. Stanford 3 timeouts, Cal 2.
It looks like with Levine Toilolo on ice down on the bench, now you're without Owusu, you're without Zach Ertz, you're without Levine Toilolo, who's really been your go-to guy in this second half. That's Levine with the hood on. Now you're going to see some backups to backups. Now you're going to see Montgomery, that true freshman, play such a big role here in a pivotal fourth quarter.
The injuries mounting for the Stanford Cardinals. Stewart, who picks it up inside the 10. Stewart to the 27. So Andrew Luck and the Stanford Cardinal with now just a touchdown lead at 10:47. This was a 1-point game at the half. Cal led this game 13-7 in the second quarter. So Stanford has led since then. A touchdown run by Gaffney in the second quarter to give Stanford the lead. Build it up to 15, but in the big game, less than 11 minutes to go. 1-score football game. Carter Blackburn, Brock Hewitt, Shelley Smith on the sideline. Taylor on first down, drop for a loss.
And there is no doubt what you're going to see from the Cal Golden Bears here in the fourth quarter. You saw it on the 4th down play. These linebackers are going to be aggressive. That's Trevor Guyton, the defensive end, getting into the backfield. If Stanford's going to roll out all of that heavy package, well, you can count on Cal bringing lots of run blitzes, and Clancy Pendergast, a guy that likes to be aggressive in nature. They're going to force the issue, and they're going to make the Montgomerys and the Fleeners and some of the other players that have not seen as many touches, they're going to make the Waylands beat them outside, not that big heavy run game.
Pendergast, 6 years NFL defensive coordinator, including 2008 Super Bowl with the Arizona Cardinals. Timeout, Stanford. That's a Stanford Athletics Wall of Fame featuring John McEnroe. Arguably the greatest tennis player of all time. Andrew Luck rolling, throwing, and complete. What a grab by Kobe Fleener.
And Kobe needs to step up. This has got to be a fourth quarter here for a senior, redshirt senior, and one of the remaining studs that Andrew has left. Toilolo's out, Ertz is out, Owusu is out. You can see how well Fleener runs. This has got to be a fourth quarter that he takes over, because I know Clancy Pendergast is going to do the best he can to take away the run. And just look at the bodies around the line of scrimmage. Fleener must step up in the final 10 minutes.
Taylor again on first down, minimal gain. 9:30 to go in the big game in Stanford. Cardinal by a touchdown, trying to avoid that list. Oklahoma State, Oklahoma, Oregon. Just the second time that 3 of the top 5 have lost on the same weekend. Levine Toilolo appears to be done for Stanford for the day. Chris Owusu unable to go because of multiple concussions. Zach Ertz out with a leg injury. Andrew Luck and the Cardinal trying to close out the night with a win over rival Cal. Luck finds Ryan Hewitt, who goes rolling near another first down. Cattouse makes the stop on Hewitt, who has a touchdown catch tonight.
Cal has tackled really well tonight. This is a very active crew. I think it's important to note that Cal's #1 in the conference defensively, and at times that's not been with a lot of offensive help. David Shaw knew this was going to be a difficult test tonight, a 4-quarter game. Cal has come to life here, playing with a lot of energy here in the fourth quarter, especially defensively.
On a sloppy field, rain started just prior to the 7:15 local time kickoff, the latest in big game history. Luck gives to Hewitt, who stretches for a Stanford first down. Exactly the 50 in the middle of the S.
The beauty of this game tonight, 114 times these two have tangled. And this looks like a lot of them from about the 1940s and 50s and 60s. Look at the uniforms. Look at the personnel packages. Once again, Stanford's going to come with 6 big offensive linemen. They want to play this game between the hashes. Just smash mouth football right at you.
Offensive coordinator Pep Hamilton says, no doubt about it, we are a power running team. We've talked about this before, Brock, about how people think in today's college football, if you have a star quarterback, you're a spread team, you're throw it all over the field. But Pep says, no, we are a power running team. That's the identity of Stanford. That's who they are.
We control the clock that way. It affords us some of those big play action pass opportunities. And now that you cross the midfield stripe, these are typically the downs and distances that those coaches like to take shots down the field.
Play action on second down. Out of the backfield, there's Hewitt again. Ryan Hewitt across the 40. Brock, you said it. Without those weapons, Owusu and Ertz and Toilolo, guys like Hewitt and Fleener would have to step up on this drive.
You have to manufacture schematically some open receivers, and Ryan Hewitt has done it through the run. That time, yet again, another unbalanced look. Everything looked like run left. You come back with the play action pass. Try to get that defense on its heels. If you don't have the personnel where you can just line up and run by people, well, you got to use a lot of these formations, a lot of these shifts, a lot of the personnel groups to attack a defense.
Taylor on first down.
And then you eventually hope that all of these body blows, all of these runs between the tackles as you're chewing up that turf and you're running in there, well, that just maybe one time they're a little off in their fit, that those linebackers don't come at you, that you get on them. And we've seen Gaffney already earlier tonight plant his foot in the ground, get north and south, try to hit those creases, much like the Oregon Ducks hit a week ago against Stanford. Some of those creases take advantage, because when you put that many bodies around the line of scrimmage as Cal is committing, just look at the number of guys within 5 yards. You hit that seam, and you can go the distance.
Play action on second down. There's Hewitt, same play out of the backfield. Down the sideline to move the chains to near the 20. So this is third down and very short for the Cardinal.
Watch the penetration. When Cal stopped Stanford, it was that penetration. in that 4th down play.
Give it to Hewitt. Straight ahead. And this time, Stanford able to convert on 3rd and short. Last time down, Cal came up with a stop. Eventually on 4th down to set up the Cal touchdown to make this a 1-score game. There's an injured Golden Bear. That's Ernest Owusu. No relation to the Stanford wide receiver Chris Owusu. Ernest down on the field.
And you notice one other thing that this drive is doing. Take a look at that clock. This drive started with just under 10 minutes left. Cal gets the score, the 2-point conversion. And you're just methodical. You're taking time off the clock. Number 1 in the conference in time of possession. Number 1 in America last season. You're going to limit the possessions here. And this drive, decent balance, 6 rush, 4 pass, but more importantly, nearly 5 minutes off this clock.
Injuries starting to mount for Cal as well. That's Camporeale who walks off the field. Owusu, the Ernest Owusu, walks off the field for Cal. Wilkerson was already out, starting linebacker, out with a knee injury. Chris McCain, freshman starting linebacker, out with a concussion.
Well, welcome to football in late November, especially with a couple physical football teams.
Power eye on 1st down. Hewitt motions. Tyler Gaffney picks up maybe 2 on 1st down. Now, 5 minutes. Cal has 2 timeouts. I mean, that's. Do you think it's too early to start thinking about using timeouts?
Yeah, I think it's too early at this juncture, but it's not too early, I think, for David Shaw to start to figure out my field goal range. On a damp night, on a soggy field, with a kicker coming back after being off 3 weeks, Jordan Williamson, who's already missed 1 field goal tonight. This is not a time, I think, to get conservative in your play call and count on a 40-yard field goal.
Wilkerson split out wide. It's Gaffney lined up. And it's going to be a timeout, Stanford. Wildcat look there from Gaffney. The Stanford axe is on the line in this, the 114th big game between the Bay Area rivals, Cal and Stanford. 12th play of this drive for Stanford. Gaffney from the Wildcat. Gaffney with Hewitt leading the way, slips just inside the 20. And the slick field here in Stanford is a factor in the 4th.
You hear coaches always say, keep your shoulder pads over your toes. You don't want to lean back. You don't want to lean forward on a slick field like this. You really got to have great balance. A number of players on both sides with critical slippage issues.
Walk back under center on 3rd and 4. Play fake. Luck rolling with Hewitt blocking. Luck stretching. He did not appear to get to that 1st down stick. Marked about a yard short. Michael Kendricks there in pursuit. Meaning 4th down coming for the Cardinal, and you have to factor in the kicking game, the field. Jordan Williamson missed a 33-yarder earlier.
How about the effort of the Golden Bears tonight? Defensively, been on the field an awful lot in this 2nd half. Coach Shaw went for it on 4th and 1 earlier. If I'm coaching here in this group, and my field goal group has been so good, and he's thinking it over there with Brian Polian, his special teams coordinator, I think you've got to take the 3 here.
3rd and final timeout.
Shaw will take a timeout. Stanford will attempt a 35-yard field goal. Those are the flags at the top of the stadium, but in the bowl, no wins. Williamson missed from 33 earlier. A redshirt freshman from Austin to make this a 2-score game with 3:12 left. Good hold. Kick is good. Williamson's 35-yard field goal makes it a 10-point, 2-score game with 3 minutes, 7 seconds left. Difficult field goal operation all the way around on a slick field in the rain.
And you saw the conversation between Brian Polian, the special teams coordinator, and David Shaw, and I think it was a conversation of, hey, listen, this group's been pretty good. I know we missed earlier, but 15 of 17 collectively coming into tonight. You've got to trust your kicker at that point. Excellent operation with the snap and the hold. An awfully big kick in the big game with just 3 minutes to go.
An awfully big drive. 3 points on the board. 7 minutes, 41 seconds bled off the clock by Stanford. After that Cal touchdown, 2-point conversion made it a 7-point game. So back to a 2-score game after a 13-play, 7-minute, 41-second field goal drive.
And oh, by the way, all Andrew Luck is now is 20 of 30, 257 yards, uniform dirty, playing the game exactly the way that he would draw it up. The architectural design, all academic performer, 3.48 GPA, maybe not as pretty in that first half. The guy doesn't mind playing ugly, and you can hear him urging his teammates on to finish, win this big game, get the 10th win, keep themselves alive for a BCS Bowl.
Kickoff from Ben Ryan, fielded inside the 10 by Manuel. So about the 27 in what's now a 2-score game. Zach Maynard, the junior quarterback from Greensboro, North Carolina, transferred from the University of Buffalo, playing in his first big game. Led a touchdown drive last time. Miscommunication there nearly resulted in a pick. Instead, 2nd and 10.
This is where your sense of urgency, yes, you have a couple timeouts still left, but this has got to be a 2-minute drill. Unfortunately, Michael Calvin, the redshirt senior receiver, down on the ground for Cal.
Hi, I'm Rick Harrison, and this is my...
A very wet, damp, windy night. And as you said, Carter, a very physical game, and that's what rivalry games are. You asked me earlier about rivalry games that I had played in and been a part of, and you watch and you do this job now. There's so much emotion involved, so much energy, so much passion to play, and often very, very physical affairs with a lot of guys, unfortunately, getting nicked up.
So Cal needing 2 scores. Michael Calvin, wide receiver, out. Will Cap, the fullback, out from early in the game. So both of these teams trying to move the football without some of their key weapons. That's Anthony Miller, the tight end, who was dropped by Michael Thomas, making it 3rd down as the clock rolls to 2 minutes, 45 seconds. Maynard finally gets the play call in. Maynard throwing on 3rd and 9. It is incomplete. Flag down. Flag on the play. Howe nearly had an interception.
I think that's going to be some contact. That was the back judge watching everything in front of him. I think the linebacker Tarpley on the play a little bit early, certainly not Howe, but some contact on the underneath tight end Anthony Miller going through the back.
Pass interference. Number 17 to the defense. Ball will be placed at the spot of the foul. Automatic 1st down.
That's the big tight end Anthony Miller. We've not called his name very often. He's the inside slot receiver. Just going to run, try to run as best he can on this sloppy field. An in cut, and Tarpley grabs a hold of him. That back judge could see it all happening there in front of him. And a really big penalty to keep some hope alive here for Cal.
Cal needs to score twice. 2 timeouts left.
This has got to be Keenan Allen time. My best player has got to touch the ball here in the final 2 minutes, early and often.
Maynard slips in the pocket, throws incomplete, was looking to the sideline for Anthony Miller.
We've seen both of these coaches tonight, both David Shaw and Pep Hamilton, Jeff Tedford and his offensive staff really be creative, get his guys in positions to have some success, be it on some screen calls, be it my big receivers outside, matching them up in one-on-one opportunities. I said earlier, number 21, Keenan Allen, he's my impact player. He's my big-time receiver. He's my playmaker. I'm going to try to find a way through formations and personnel to get him into a matchup where he can get the ball.
0 second-half catches for Keenan Allen. He's lined up in the slot. Maynard pressured again. Zach Maynard rolling away from the pressure, heaving downfield. It's incomplete, but there's another pass interference call against the Cardinal. Is this looking like big games of old that go down to the wire with flags flying in critical plays at the end of the fourth quarter?
Number 6 in the defense. 15-yard penalty. Automatic first down.
And Zach Maynard, the left-hander, running to his right, committing the cardinal sin you hear all the time of throwing back late across your body. But Delano Howell, the active safety, you just can't go through the defender. You got to try to manipulate your body, have the body control to get to the reception point or the interception point and not go through the receiver. That will draw a penalty on every occasion.
2:03 to go in the 114th big game. Cal needs 2 scores. Maynard again rolling away from pressure. Throws downfield, caught inside the 30. Booza makes the grab. Clock stops temporarily as the chains move.
Get your team up to the line of scrimmage. You want to play fast, but never in a panic.
Heavy pressure at the line of scrimmage shown by Stanford on first down. Maynard flings complete. Nice grab by Miller coming back to the football. Gets out of bounds. Clock will continue to roll though. Howell forces him out. Forward progress stopped at the 20. Cal does have 2 timeouts. And the Bears need 2 scores. So the clock a big factor now. Maynard complete inside the 15. That'll be a first down. Clock stops temporarily again as the chains are moved. It's Booza again. Spike it here?
No, I don't think so. You just got to get up and get set now. 103 when they set the ball. You got to have some urgency here in your operation.
Maynard pressured and sacked. Timeout Cal. Trent Murphy sacks Maynard. Timeout granted with 45 seconds left. 47 seconds on the clock. 2 seconds were put back up there.
I'm smarter than you. No, I'm smarter than you. No, I can stare better. All I know right now is Cal has to score and score in a hurry. And you cannot, if you're playing quarterback, take sacks here.
Maynard flings it to the end zone. Incomplete. Intended for Keenan Allen, who does not have a catch since the first quarter of this game.
And you see a little bit of frustration there from Keenan. The body language saying, hey, half-brother, throw this to me a little bit earlier. You got to see that corner. See that corner jump up? You're just way too late as the field condenses down in the red zone.
That's a player who was 8th in the nation in receptions a game. Had 6 in the first quarter. None since. Only the second time he's been thrown to this half. 42 seconds left. Maynard complete inside the 10, inside the 5, short of the goal line. Anderson. Clock stops again temporarily because it'll be first and goal. Chains move.
And now is a chance. You got to just spike the ball. Now you're timeout. You got to score here. It comes all about the onside kick. You got to hurry and get to your play.
Too much time. Maynard under center, first and goal. With the clock rolling and now a flag.
Spike it. Yep.
Offside. Number 99 of the defense. Half the distance to the goal. Remains first down.
Clock management is so critical. Every one of those seconds. As I said, you got to score, and you're playing for that onside kick, and you're going to need that time. I think I'm running up to that ball and spiking it and trying to preserve those seconds that have now ticked away.
The clock will start when the ball is snapped.
So first and goal, the nose of the pigskin. Maynard hands off to Anderson. Touchdown, Cal. Flag on the play.
Offside. Number 93, the defense. This penalty is declined. Touchdown, California.
14 seconds. A PAT away from being a field goal game.
Well, these big games have had some fantastic finishes through the years, and this one's going to come down after the extra point to that onside kick.
Tavecchio, the Cal kicker, has missed 5 PATs this year. This one is good. 14 seconds, 3-point game. College football's wildest night is stretching into the wee hours in most parts of the country as the 114th big game goes down to the final seconds. Where's the band?
Oh, look at the stare down. They have not flinched. They're not feeling any of this sense of urgency. And wasn't it David Shaw? Which game was that he was referring to? A pretty big onside kick that went Stanford's way in 1990. He was a redshirt freshman that year, redshirting, standing on the sidelines. Well, now he, the band, the stare down, and everybody going to be keeping a close eye here on this onside kick on a very soggy field. Tavecchio better make sure he drives this ball into the ground.
Everyone except those participating in the stare down. Eyes are on the onside kick here with 14 seconds. Cal has a timeout. Cal needs a football on the onside kick. And through it all, this is why we love college football. Giorgio Tavecchio, the Cal kicker for the onside kick. Has to go 10 yards. Fleener grabs it. Stanford football. The Cardinals should walk out of the stadium tonight with the Stanford Axe.
And awfully nice to have your 6'6" tight end go up, high point the ball, secure, does a wise thing and gets down. Outside of Cal having the one timeout left, it's going to secure that Stanford Axe stays right here in Palo Alto.
Well, the Stanford Axe is going to stay with the Stanford Cardinal. Andrew Luck hits a knee, and the 114th big game goes down to the wire, but it's the 9th-ranked Stanford Cardinal who hang on to the game and hang on to the Axe.
Not always pretty, very hard fought, very physical on both sides. And Stanford keeps their BCS hopes alive. Andrew keeps his Heisman hopes alive. David Shaw gets to keep that Axe right here in town.
The question now, Sunday night, BCS Countdown presented by Vizio. How high will Stanford climb with all of the mayhem in the top 10 and the top 5? How far can the Cardinal move up a week after their national championship hopes appeared to be over with the loss to Oregon? 31-28, 9th-ranked Stanford survives a tough test from rival Cal tonight. Coming up next, it is SportsCenter for Brock Hewitt, Shelley Smith, and our entire hard-working crew. I'm Carter Blackburn. This has been a presentation of ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports. The Stanford Axe remains with the